Hi, everyone. This is... I started before my amazing clap. Hi, everyone. This is Tatiana Dudiez. We are hosting Thrive and Shine. This is a show about amazing people around this world who are leading with truth and authenticity and consciousness. And they are not only leading their businesses than their lives. They're leading everything in their lives, basically. So it always matters to me that I can showcase these amazing people. Some of them I work with, some of them I just met, and I just thought I have to have them on my show. And it's about inspiration, and it's about lifting each other up every day so that we lead and live better lives, or at least truer to our souls and our hearts. And so today I have someone awesome who, of course, they're always awesome. I always say that. It's a little repetitive, but it's true. I find them all awesome. Otherwise I wouldn't have them on the show, right? It's like a prerequisite to be on the show. Yeah. And so I have Sophia Ellis. Sophia, welcome.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome, of course. So Sophia is, I have to take my glasses for this because Sophia is not only someone I work with, she is my digital expert. She's been with me for over a year now.
Over a year now.
Yeah, it's, I love, what I really love about Sophia, before I actually introduce her formally, is how dedicated you are. You're so dedicated, and you are putting your work as closely to your heart as one could possibly do. I mean, you are actually zooming in from Barcelona. This is where you now live. Otherwise, you used to be in California. And this girl will be at all times of day and night to do what she loves to do. And I think that this type of dedication, this level of dedication, really is a result of your passion for your work and how you live your work. Now, sometimes I actually tell her to take it easy and take care of herself and go to bed. Like, just go to sleep, Sophia. Shut up. Just go to sleep.
Not like that. That's not how it is. That's just not how it is. Maybe one day I'll get to a point of understanding work-life balance. But right now, like you said, when you live and you're so passionate about what you do and what you want to see other people that work with you do, it's like time is, there's no 9 to 5, there's no I shut off at this time. It's
exactly
happens.
And I love that about you, because I can like, sometimes we'll get on text and I know it's like super late and I'm actually texting believing that you'll see it when you wake up the next day and you answer me, and I'm like, what the hell? What is she doing? She's like still up, and she's like, oh yeah, but it's amazing, and I don't know if it's representative of your generation. I don't know that for a fact. We'll dive into that. Before we dive even more into that, I want to introduce you formally. So you are the founder of Ellis Marketing, a digital agency serving clients in 10 countries. She is a 2 times best-selling ghost author and international marketing and digital consultant. You are obviously, as I mentioned, you are from California and now live in Barcelona. Sometimes you make ghost appearances also in Australia, as I understand. And you are an advocate for women entrepreneurs and abuse victims. And yes, so we can talk about all of that to your discretion.
Of course.
Yeah. And so I think that's also the other part of why I love working with you. It's not only your dedication, but also the fact that you are so passionate about our brand, my brand, and my mission. And we together join forces to elevate women. And I know that you're a big fan and advocate for that as well. So yes, of course.
It's always been, and I remember when I first started my business ever, I was always drawn to working with clients whose focus was women.
That's how we met, right?
No, really, that's how we met. We met through a group that was dedicated towards women. And so I met you and so many other amazing women that I was like, this is the space that makes me passionate and I want to work in. Maybe that's subconscious because of my past and things that I've been through, but it just is something I've become so passionate about is elevating that place of women, because I've seen what women are capable of and what women can do when they are elevated, when they are connected to other women who have the same mindset and have the same collaborative mindset to push everyone forward. I think that is so incredibly important. And you know, my background education wise and business wise and work wise, you know, I've seen what that can actually do. And so it's always been the biggest focus to me. Do I work with other, you know, I work with men all the time. Obviously I have male clients as well. I'm not saying I'm a female only agency, but it is something that is
dear to your heart.
To me, yes, it's close to my heart. So of course I'm always going to be just a little tiny bit biased towards a female client whose goal is also uplifting other women.
Any reasons for which you are such a goddess warrior for women?
Oh my gosh. I think part of it has to be some sort of, you know, I think all entrepreneurs are kind of born and they know right away when that's kind of their path in life. And I think that was definitely the case with me as a young kid as well. But my parents divorced when I was super young, and my mom was really entrepreneurial, like right out of the gate, had her business and it was working really hard. And I saw that every single day. And it was difficult, obviously, because I didn't have a child or a mother like the other kids whose mom would come and pick them up from school at a certain time every single day or anything like that. But I got to see a woman building a business, which to me, you know, I got the fair end of the deal there.
which is interesting, because I mean, that's the typical scenario typical scenario. I should rephrase that. It is one of the typical scenarios of my generation raising girls, you know, of your age, right? Because I mean, I have two girls who are almost 26 and 29. And they've been around me building businesses, running businesses, and it was the entrepreneurial lifestyle. Some of them resent it. Some of them find it, as you just said, you got the better end of the deal, which is awesome. I mean, you know, that's great. You actually see it as a benefit.
100%. And you know, I will say, I will defend your daughters here. I was resentful at a certain point. I think when I was younger. And I saw other kids have experiences with their mothers that I didn't have, or they would get picked up on time, or, you know, their mothers would be able to take them to practice and do all these, you know, these things where I was like, that's not an option for me. I don't understand.
Yeah.
I think and it's also, society was not cool in this sense that I had teachers and principals and parents be like, oh, your mom can't pick you up. That's so sad. You know, and so
nice.
repeat that over and over again to a kid. They're kind of like, this is sad. What the hell? You know, you kind of,
my mom is pathetic. Yeah,
you get this really like, wow, I'm second rate to something else. But then when I got to college, I remember it was when I got to university, and I saw other girls whose truly their life goal, they were there to find a husband to replace basically their dad's credit card. It was just they were following in line with what their mother did, which the generation before may have done that, and that was normal. But for us, it's honestly not. It's just not. And I felt like I had a leg up. I felt like I had a work ethic within me and a greater vision within me that these other women did not, because ultimately you are raised by your environment. And when you see a certain work ethic and a certain path, you're going to be, you know, privy towards that. And
it's going to shape you, no matter whether you like it or not, or no matter how how it will manifest throughout your life. It shapes you, of course.
No matter what it does. And I'm so grateful for that so much. That was the best.
Thanks, Mom. That's awesome.
Thank you.
So we want to dig into the millennial generation. We want to dig into how do you fit as who you are, this devoted, passionate women entrepreneur amongst your peers. Are you one of many? Are you an exception? Are you in between? I mean, where do you stand?
That's tough. I would say it's tough, and it truly depends. And this is me being 2 years out of university. I saw all ends of the spectrum. All ends of spectrum. I saw kids who were expecting perfect 9-to-5 jobs like their parents, where they would get paid benefits and make $100K plus a year off the bat, and that would be their life.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also saw kids who were literally starting their second, third business in university, and like they were like, there's no other option, there's no excuse. The connectivity we have at this time in our life is unreal. Like, we have so much potential. I think a lot of us are much more open to the idea of entrepreneurship because the internet has allowed literally anyone to
Mm-hmm.
showcase their talents
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and make money through that, or
Mm-hmm.
start a product business and make money through that. There's the barrier to entry is so much lower. I think just based off that alone, there's we're so much more inclined to go towards that. Yeah, social media has showed us, you know, what freedom entrepreneurship can bring you, and also what greater good entrepreneurship can create. There are so many social-based businesses and super conscious businesses that you know, are huge on social media, and my generation in particular cares a lot about that. Like,
about consciousness, about the how to run your business and what the values that you hold through your business. I love hearing that. I love hearing that. That's amazing.
That is huge for us because you know, we went, my generation particularly, we went through at a conscious age, you know, 2008, and we saw what can happen when companies collapse and when people don't care about other people in business and they do things, you know, for bottom line only reasons.
Right.
We saw the results of that. And so a lot of us, and I think this also has to do with, you know, how connected our personal and business lives are now. There's a very blurred line between personal and business now. I mean, I have clients on my social media. They know everything I'm doing. I talk very openly about my personal life. And that's the case for tons of entrepreneurs and people in business now. So business is extremely personal now. You cannot avoid it. You cannot escape that. So conscious business it's necessary. It's the future. That's where we're going.
And what does that mean for you? What does it mean to be conscious as a woman, as a millennial woman today? And what does it mean to run a conscious business?
Oh my gosh. It means so many things. It means so many things. I think business is such a powerful tool for uplifting everybody involved. It's not one person trying to make more than they would with a 9-to-5 job. It is using your talents, your creativity, and looking for others that complement you in that sense to create something beyond all of you. And for me, it's a tool to, especially in this age when we have such mobility with the internet, to uplift communities and people that didn't have that opportunity before. The barriers to business and entrepreneurship were so high in the past. It was, I hate to say this, but it was pretty much a white man's game only. Like that was it. You didn't, you know, unless you have those connections, and you saw that with, you know, good schools and the right groups and the right parents and the right social clubs, it was harder to get into. And so now we have this ability to bring people into the conversation through business and entrepreneurship. And when you're a conscious business and you make an effort to bring other people into the conversation, you're then using business to elevate everybody instead of just those who had the access before.
Right. And so that my next question begs to be asked in that, so when your business is conscious, meaning when it is used to elevate humanity or a cause, and to elevate people, how do you invite people to come into the conversation or into the business as either collaborators or clients? Do you pay attention? Are you mindful about who you associate with? Because the question is really in regard to living the values of consciousness, right? So it means, as I understand it, and I'm asking because I wonder how you dance with that, is as you hold certain values of integrity, of authenticity, of perhaps collaborating and associating with people who potentially don't have those same values. How do you go about that?
Oh my goodness.
And how do you deal with it when you find out that they might not have those values?
It's a no. To me, there is no, in the past, there's always been this excuse. It's just business.
Mm.
This makes me furious. It is not just business. And you know, I'll give you an example that I think
it's personal, as you said before. Business now is personal.
It's not just business anymore. It drives me crazy. It's not ever going to be just business ever again. It's just not that way anymore, especially with our personal lives out there so much. You are accountable for who you associate with in a lot of cases, and that's very true. Something that really drives me crazy, and I focus on elevating women, and I respect all women in business, but there are a lot of women who play the double standard in terms of using male attention to get ahead. And there have been, I mean, I think I've calculated it this year. My business has lost a ridiculous amount of money to contracts that I had to cut because the men that were involved in those contracts, or the gatekeepers for those contracts, did not have the right intentions and were not using business for the right purposes. And
that's interesting. So you actually took action to cut those contracts out of your own business because you found out that they were not like personally aligned, or the way they were behaving in terms of representing their business, and how they were relating to yours did not match.
Exactly.
Wow. How that takes courage.
It's, people are like, oh, it's money you can't get. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. I will. I mean, to be honest with you, one of these deals would have been 6 figures. It would have been fantastic for me. It would have been great. Oh my, this person I would have been aligned with would have opened so many doors in my field, and so many doors that I had always wished I could open myself, but couldn't. And to me, it's just, it was a situation where if I had continued to say, it's okay, it's just business. It's okay, it's just business. I can just leverage this, or, you know, I would be playing into creating an environment that's not safe, not happy, not encouraging to women. And that's
to women, and to you included?
Of course, to me, of course. Yeah.
So safe in terms of, was there like some kind of sexual innuendo, or you know, crossing the line on that level?
There are a lot of men, and they're older, of course. The younger men, I hope to God don't do this. Obviously, the gatekeepers for a lot of these big opportunities that a lot of women deserve, are still these older men who are used to a type of behavior that was never acceptable, but now is really not acceptable. Like, I really will slam the door in your face. I really will rip up the contract. We will block you. Like, there's no reason for that. And they continue to get away with it. And for me, it's just, a lot of women think, oh, I'm playing the system. Oh, I'm just getting ahead with what I have. And you can't do that. You can't do that because you can't.
Yeah. And you can't have this talk about, you know, feeling abused or feeling taken advantage of, and perpetrating the behavior of men who actually do that, who actually create that space for us. So I'm so impressed that you've actually taken action to cut businesses out because of that. This
is their game.
Commendable.
They can keep doing it, but the second you say no, you know, it's a clear message. But they know that this works. They know that this is just part of it, you know? And it's never be part of it.
And it's probably just a habit. Like, they are likely not, either they're not conscious of it because it's so habitual for them, or they believe that so far they haven't had consequences, so they believe they can just keep on going and do what they've always done.
Exactly. And to me, I don't care if your organization doesn't have consequences. With me, you have consequences.
You go, girl. I love that.
I'm not dealing with that. That's absolutely. And here's what makes me so crazy is, if I know they're not asking the 24-year-old boy with the same experience as me, or less, let's be real, less, to do the same things. And that they're giving that guy the opportunity, you know, the introduction, the contract, the pitch, whatever it may be, because he reminds them of them when they were younger. And to me, I'm just an opportunity. Like I have an extra step I have to take in order to get my foot in the door, because I'm not that. Despite merit, experience, talent, all those things don't matter. And that's just not acceptable to me. I don't really care what the sum is on the other side. It's
unacceptable, period.
Unacceptable, period. There's no way.
So how do you, is there a system that you can possibly, or you have already developed, that prevents you from entering in business relationships with people like that? Are your antennas a little bit wiser now?
Honestly, it is tough, because some people you can tell off the bat their intentions are bad. They don't treat women, people of color, women of color, anyone other than themselves in the right way. It's obvious off the bat, and usually they let something slip, and you're like, you know what, I don't want to work with you. You don't represent my values. It's not going to happen. There have been times where I have been communicating with someone for weeks, and they have actually acknowledged my talent, acknowledged my ability, said, this is great. You write beautifully. I love your design. You do really well with this. I saw your portfolio, whatever it may be. They acknowledge my talent, and then they still do something inappropriate. And that blows my mind, because I'm like, wait.
Well, for them, it's not related.
No,
it's unrelated. Yeah.
Part of the contract. It's just it's an opportunity. I might as well shoot my shot. Like, crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. Like, yeah. You what?
I will block them. It's just, no, I'm not.
I will block you. I love it. So I think that with time we develop, kind of a discernment type of system.
Right.
I mean, I know for myself, I've experienced a lot of that, and I'm not part of your generation yet. It's been common practice, and it's interesting how sometimes when you actually put your foot down and be clear and direct about where you stand and where it's unacceptable for them to stand, how some of them take it personally and are almost taken aback in a way that is so surprising to me. I had a couple of experiences like that where these men actually turned it around, and it was almost like, how dare I, stop them in their tracks, and like, how dare I insinuate that they might be out of line when they're clearly out of line? Like, really, it's your fault. Yes,
you didn't play the game, so now it's your fault.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
I've gotten this quite a bit too, and that look, I hate to say this, but that generation is dying out, literally. Oh, yeah. So I'm not worried. I mean,
I kind of part of that generation, but that's okay, Sophia. I'm dying out.
They're older than you.
I know, a little bit. Well, that's the thing is as we one of our conversations recently was that I have a lot of millennials around me, and I love you guys. I mean, I really do. I have my two girls.
One of us.
Well, the funny part of all of that, which might to some people be a little pathetic, but hey, it's who I am, and I'm not gonna change that because some people think differently about it. But I really do love this generation, and yes, it's partly because I got to raise two beautiful millennials, but it's also because what I love about you guys is that you're so open and you're so wanting to do things differently. And part of my mission is really to propose to women to do things differently and be different. So of course, I think that this, is welcoming all of you in a space of innovation and transparency and authenticity and just and fun. Like I love to have fun with you, and I often would go out with my girls and they'd be like, is that your sister? And I'd be like, oh, I love you. No, but I'm the mom, or on the phone, because my voice is so, I guess young. I don't know. They'd be like, "Can I speak with your mom?" I'm like, "Well, I am the mom." So, but the gift in all of that is that I think that we as our generation of what are we called, boomers, we ought to learn from you as well. And I think that it's like the way that I parented for a while. I parented my girls as I thought I knew better, because I was the parent, which is the old paradigm of parenting. And then when I switched things around and I grew up, I don't know, I discovered that in fact, my kids are also my teacher, and I believe that as a society we would gain so much if we stopped seeing all of you as a threat, because in fact you are to some people a threat, in that you're representing 50%. I think if I'm quoting those numbers from a friend anthropologist who actually is specialized on millennials. He was quoting this the other day. I think you are representing 50% of the workforce.
Oh,
right
and
now.
growing, and that's
and it's going to be 70% soon.
Yes.
I mean, it's crazy. And so instead
We're
of
no longer a threat, we are the workforce.
yeah, and so instead of being scared of all of you and creating all kinds of theories about you, and you are very different. We are partly responsible for the way that you are different. We raised you differently than we were raised. Yes. And so there are consequences to that. So to all of the boomers who are watching or listening, I mean, take responsibility for some of the results that you've actually contributed to create in this generation, and appreciate it. I mean, it's one thing to continuously, criticize the millennials. I think you have amazing qualities, and so this, what's that?
There are amazing qualities in millennials, and,
right.
and all generations, of course. But obviously, millennials are also seeing a frontier of things that are entirely new. So comparing generations
is
very
right.
difficult. Especially technology-wise, we have a connectivity that's at another level, and it we almost, hate to say this, but a lot of the influence on us came from outside, even our families. Like we were exposed to the world. And
yes.
had access to the world very young. And that is reflected in who we are now. Right. That you can't stop that or control that.
Yeah.
There's just no way.
No, you can't. And the way that you purchase, the way you think, the way you eat, the way you live everything's different. And like I said, I believe that we've contributed to creating that. And so, it's easier to blame than to embrace and accept and move on and create businesses together. I mean, I love working with you. I love working with Jaylene, who's another millennial who is just awesome, and saw and came across my mission and my brand and said, "I just want to be around you. I just want to work with you." And I'm like, okay, come on in.
That's the thing with us is because work life is so blended. Work has to be a positive, fulfilling experience for us.
It's no inspiring too. Yeah.
What do I get out of this? What benefits do I get out of this? A lot of us are like, what do I, as a soul, as a person, get out of this? We ask those questions, and that's extremely important for us. And a lot of companies need to understand that. And I'm going to talk from an economic perspective now, because I know that's the only thing that gets things moving sometimes. But to retain talent, that's what you need to do. You need to create situations and grow.
One of the trends that is very well known, we're not talking about anything unknown here, but one of the trends of your generation is that you skip from one job to the next, because you're looking to be taken care, well, not taken care of, but you're looking for your happiness. You're looking for your own well-being. You're looking for something that either stimulates you or inspires you or contributes to your greater good, to your personal greater good, more than we did. We would get stuck in one job and just stay there. I mean, I didn't, but a lot of my peers would, out of loyalty or out of comfort and security. I think you throw that all out the window, and you just want happiness. You want your well-being. Or do you want more money? Do you skip from one job to the next for more money, or is it really about your conditions around you and in that job and your happiness?
Exactly. And I actually, it's so funny, right before this, I got a text from my best friend, same age as my best friend's from California. She was my high school best friend. She just texted me. She said, "Hey, I'm going to be in France for a year starting in August." And I said, "What? I thought you were at Adobe in Salt Lake. Like, what's going on?" She goes, "Wasn't fulfilled, wasn't going anywhere in my job that I wanted to go. I know it's a big drop in money. I'm leaving."
A drop in money. And it's because she has a vision of what she wants and she's pursuing that.
And that wasn't it. And it's just, we have a long-term vision, and not long-term in the sense of I'm going to climb up the ranks of this one company and be here my whole life and retire as, I don't know, senior manager. That's not our long-term vision. Our long-term vision is, what are the experiences I'm going to have between now and this age? And whatever doesn't fit into that and support that, we're kind of willing to get rid of. At least I am. Like, if it doesn't support what my vision is.
So it's you and your friends who definitely are like that. Do you think is that representative of the standard for millennials, do you think?
I would say so. I mean, I think the rate is we leave jobs once every 2 years.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That's a trend that I've definitely
very fast. And a lot of that happens to be with companies are just inherently more unstable now. New companies pop up like this. They move very quickly past veteran companies because they get things right. And there's a lot more potential for change like that. So I think jobs are a little bit more unstable now, but also knowing that, and knowing when we see these fast moving opportunities and these amazing things being created very quickly around us, we're more likely to move quickly towards what we see as the new thing, or what we see as aligned with us that's upcoming. Like, we're more likely to just, you know what? No. Last week I had another friend. She called me. She goes, "Hey, quit my job. I'm focusing on my side project and this other side project. I'm working on 3 things at once, all different things. Took a pay hit, but whatever."
So like would you say I know it. I'm so impressed. Would you say that you are also less fearful because is that because there are more opportunities out there, or is it just you're just gonna get what you want? How do you feel personally?
Me?
Yeah.
This may obviously take me with a grain of salt, because I started my own business.
You're an anomaly.
It's not that I'm an anomaly. It's that there are a lot of factors that led to me creating my business. A lot of it was out of necessity. But for me, there is always another opportunity that you can create, another door that you can literally build and then open for yourself. That always exists. So there is no finite end. Like, we're done, committing suicide over, massive job losses like in the 1920s. Like, we're like, okay, now what? Because we see how fast things can change. Right. We see how quickly things can move and grow and die, and something else is reborn. Like, that cycle is sped up. So the end of the line is not our second, third job or our first job. We're not distraught over walking away or losing that, because we know that there are so many opportunities to either be found or be created very quickly and easily. Not easily, but quickly.
And what would you say would be the millennials? And I know you're not like typically representative, but still I think you are to a larger extent. What would you say drives you crazy about some of the darker sides of the millennials, like either at work or in life?
oh my God, darker side of
Darker side, or more frustrating sides, or like, what's that?
There's a lot. And
Really?
this with every generation, but
Look at you, you're an old soul.
I'm I've been
Like, oh my God, there are so many things that drive me crazy about my peers. Like, what? Do you even have that perspective? That's funny.
I know. It's a lot of it is, I think the hyperconnectivity almost does a double-edged sword of making us more conscious towards other people and different struggles and scenarios happening in the world, but it's also desensitized us to a lot of things, which really frustrates me. Like, really frustrates when people become commodities and you know, objects used for clout, and you know, that side bothers me a little bit, where it's easy to detach emotion when things are so internet based. But what else? There is a little bit of a hint of entitlement. I will not lie about that. I've seen people in university, you know, studying the bare minimum, and they're like, I must get 6 figures off the bat, or I'm not taking this job. Like, stuff like that, where I'm like, okay, well, that's not realistic. And obviously that comes with class. Let's not take class out of this, because with millennials, we have, especially in the United States, big jumps between different situations where people are. And so you can't judge all millennials the same. I think there are millennials who are taking great advantage of, you know, their lack of advantage and changing it around with the tools that have been given to us as millennials. And there are a lot who do still kind of play the entitlement card because they have more and they're used to that. And now with technology, they have even more. So there is a double-edged sword with everything, but there is a bit of entitlement, especially in terms of job and work, that kind of irks me sometimes, especially because I think I've been working ridiculously hard for a really long time. And then people like, I remember someone was like, oh, you're so lucky you have your own business. That must have been the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
Oh, well,
that's lucky you have your own business.
Yeah, but honestly, don't take that as so personally because of your age. I think that's part of human jealousy. Unfortunately, I think it's something that people say when they don't know what it takes to build a business and be an entrepreneur. And also it's out of ignorance. And it's also out of jealousy, I think. I mean, as a woman, I've often had that type of comment as well. You're so lucky to have the life you want, you have right now. Yeah. Or you're so lucky that, you know, you're so lucky. I've had that so many times. You're so lucky that blah, blah, blah. And it's like, really? Okay. You know, we create our luck. I mean, we create the situation, the space we're in. I mean, as best as we can. Right. There are many people who don't have the possibility to create even more for their own space and for themselves. And I respect that. Generally speaking, we create where we are in our lives, right?
Of course. And I think a big part of that millennials recognize, especially with, you know, using what you've been given, is a big thing for us is, and for me particularly, is recognizing privilege, recognizing where you've had a leg up where someone else hasn't, and recognizing your responsibility then to extend that privilege, regardless of how hard you worked for something. I understand I've worked super hard for my business, whatever. I still had opportunities and connections and people and you know, support that I know other people didn't. And obviously even my skin, let's just go with my skin tone. I know I'm not a Black woman or you know, Latino woman who would have 100 more hurdles in that sense because of that. That's pure privilege. And my generation is very good at recognizing that and saying, okay, how do I now use the power that I've been given through my privilege to help others? And that's another thing that I really, really, really like about my generation.
I love
like
that. It feels like you're very aware of who you are as a representative of your generation.
I think you have to be. I think that's another responsibility with privilege. I think you have complete responsibility to be aware of who you are to people around you, to people not around you, people watching distance. And for me, looking back, there are so many people who, even if I just saw them in a 3-minute YouTube video, interview, speaking, they have such an impact. And it's so important to realize that impact that you can create just by showing up and using your voice and recognizing your power and what it can do is so important, like incredibly important. You have to recognize that, otherwise you're
and those words could be easily taken and applied to so many people of all generations, not just the millennials, but my generation and any other type of generation that exists. I mean, being
representation and hearing from someone who's been there is the most powerful thing to me. It's the most powerful thing. Anytime I'm having like a really rough time with business or with clients or with anything really business related, I always look up sort of my idols or people that I admire who are where I want to be, and I just watch a YouTube video, read an article for them, read a biographical piece from them, so whatever it may be. And it's just having representation is so important, especially for women. You have to see where the women have been.
So what do you, besides taking contracts out and people out and men out of your space when they don't align with the way you want to conduct business and your values, what else do you do to support women in moving forward in a way that is, taken seriously and responsible, and anything else?
Oh my gosh. Well, my hope, and I don't think I've ever gotten to the point where I feel, this is so funny because I just said all this, where I feel like my voice is powerful enough yet. I don't think I've gotten to the point yet where I feel like it's powerful enough, but I really need this year. Everything's getting so much bigger and there's so many big opportunities in front of me. I'm going to start hiring more. And with that, I my absolute 100% goal is to pick women who I think not just have potential for me or for my business, but have great potential for themselves, and that I can open the doors for, whether that's within my business or beyond me. Just giving that platform, giving that leverage is huge for me. And another big thing I'm doing this year with my business, now that I'm at a certain point, that has been like my absolute life's thing. A percentage of everything goes to women's charities that help women who have been abused or have been in abusive situations, because I know for women especially, the financial side of things is the biggest factor for getting out of bad jobs that are abusive, or quitting when you are dealing with sexual harassment. That's just a baseline thing. But talking about, sexual abuse at home or physical abuse, domestic violence, it's always a financial factor, is always in that piece. And so now that I have a platform and a way to support women out of that, that is one of the most important things to me. By far. Like that's one of those things that will always be a centerpiece to why I do what I do, for sure.
Bravo. That's amazing. Good for you. And so this is how you're positioning the business, which is very congruent, which is one of the values that we hold dear, you and I, in our businesses and in our lives. And talking about, because we have like 2 minutes left, which goes so fast. Or 3 minutes left. Can you imagine? I know. What in your personal life, who do you look up to in terms of role models, in terms of women? Like, who can help you move forward in a way that inspires you? Who are your role models, and why?
Oh my, okay. So my mother's always been inspirational because of all the things that I've mentioned before, and she always will be for those things. There are, so this is a crazy fact about me. On both sides of my family, for 3 generations back, I've only been entrepreneurs.
Wow.
And the vast majority of them, women. A lot of them alone. I don't know. This is very foreboding for my future.
Well, not if you decide not to.
No, of course not. But it's just a fact. And so all of those women have always served as, background spirits and talking heads that have always been very inspirational. On a bigger platform, on a bigger level, I was just watching an interview with her today. Bozoma St. John, she's former Apple exec, former Uber exec. She went to go fix Uber. And now she's at Endeavor. She is incredible. I mean, when we talk about fully embracing femininity unapologetically, 100% who she is, just she does it effortlessly and rises in the ranks effortlessly. And one of the most important things she says is your experience, your authentic self has real value. It creates culture. Literally, what you're experiencing is what other people are experiencing. It creates culture. And if you do not show up with that, you're doing a disservice to everybody around you.
To the world, to yourself, to everybody around, for sure.
Like you have to show up as your authentic self with your full experience and, your full memory of all the things that have happened to you and all the things you've been through and all the things you've experienced within your community, within your culture. It's so important to bring those things to the table. She's so big on that, while effortlessly being feminine in bright colors and wearing what she wants and wearing her hair as she wants and makeup as she wants.
We need to interview her. I hope maybe she gets this little interview of between us, and we need to interview her. We need to bring her in.
Oh, she is incredible. She's
perfect.
Like everything that I could hope to be. Like she's such and I really wish I could see more of her. I would like people interview her more, get her more. She's such a
let's ask her.
Can we please?
Absolutely. I mean it. Yeah, no, I'm not just saying this. No, I mean it. You just sent her. I did not know of her until you sent her to me today earlier, and I definitely want to let's hang out.
We need to see more of that. We need to see more women.
We need to expose that energy out there. We need to bathe in that energy so that it's not just something we talk about, because that's one of my I guess concerns these days, is that it's one thing to talk about all of this and as we are building campaigns for my business for Fiercely Feminine, to support women, to elevate them, to educate them, to be unapologetically themselves, and feminine is part of that. It's not just that, but it's part of it. There is so much talk about it. And so the talk is great, but it has to be followed through with not only action, but that energy. That energy is that's not something you can even put words on. No. It's felt. It's felt, and that's what people need to feel. What does it feel like to be around, working with, in a relationship with? It can be, I know, it can be it can be fiery to be in a relationship, with intimate relationship, right? With fiercely feminine women, because, we're all that. And then all of a sudden, boom, we cut right through the chase, and we can be extremely direct and very fiery.
But that's authenticity.
But that's I mean, unapologetic in a way. So let's not confuse unapologetic with the fact that we would never apologize.
Right?
Unapologetic in terms of we own who we are. Yes, we have vulnerable moments. Yes, we have fears. Yes, we have all kinds of stuff. I mean, we're human, but unapologetic in a way that we just want to stop apologizing for being a woman with all of its color range. emotions and transparency and need for deeper intimacy. And, you know, that's women, you know, that's who we are. And so let's stop being so apologetic for what nature has given us, which is simply the beauty of that sacred feminine in us. And I'm sorry?
Feminine aspects have a power within themselves that
exactly. And so we have to stop. Last but not least, what as a powerful, feminine, fierce millennial can you not go without during your day?
Can I not go without during my day?
Every day.
Every single day.
Yeah.
Every single day, I have to get up and I have to write out my intentions for the day. I have to.
Oh, wow. I love that. I didn't know that about you.
I have to. It's something that sets me 100% focused on it, because it's so easy, especially as someone who's so connected to everybody all the time with clients in 10 countries. Oh my God, are you kidding me? It's just something that's like, this is what's important. Whatever happens, doesn't matter if the whole world around you burns down. This is what's important. And those things are usually broader, bigger things than just little things throughout the day.
And we know that doing that, you diffuse already a vibration and an energy in the world that will help you manifest it. It's the prerequisite to making things happen. So bravo to that. I love it. Intentions. All right, honey, sweetie, amazing Sophia Ellis, millennial, entrepreneur, kick-ass boss woman.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I love you. Take care, and we'll keep applauding you, all of you millennials. I love you. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.